Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today I'm going to do the genre book tag. This tag was originally created by Harry Rosie. I wasn't tagged to do this, but the person I saw who did this, and indeed I am counting as unofficially tagging me, is Andrea. I will link both their channels in the description box below. This tag is fairly obvious with its meaning and its points for you to make interesting conversation about. Hence, I'm going to get straight into the topics. The first of them is your favourite genre, and that is for me a fairly obvious one, and that is both space opera and hard science fiction. It never used to be. 10 years ago I would have given completely different answers. It wouldn't even been science fiction, it probably would have been fantasy in fact, but nowadays they have come to dominate my reading really badly. Obviously be speculative fiction as well, although speculative fiction is more of a mindset rather than an actual subgenre to my way of thinking that covers multiple other subgenres by itself. So that's an interesting conversation for another time. The second question is your least favourite genres, and that would be, and this is not going to spoil anybody, young adult books or YA. Now, I've got nothing against young adult as a genre, it just doesn't work for me personally. I have tried reading various young adult books over the years, and very few of them have ever actually worked for me. Mostly I think they are very dull and uninteresting. The plots are normally quite silly, I find. Occasionally there is some interesting world building, but they don't hold my interest like other science fiction books do. Young adult is just not my way of thinking, and it just doesn't work for me as a genre. The third question is a genre you want to try. Now for this, I'm not going to say any genre that I haven't ever tried before, because I frankly have tried every genre at this point. I would say though that I would like to read more non-fiction novels. I have recently read a non-fiction novel only about 5 weeks ago for the first time in almost a decade, and that I enjoyed thoroughly, and I would like to read more non-fiction about various things. I mean, that was non-fiction about science fiction, so non-fiction about something other than science fiction would be preferable at the end of the day. The fourth question is a genre you don't want to try, and for that is actually true crime. I have never had an interest in these real crime or true crime programs on television back when I actually had television to actually watch them on. True crime is just, I find it just strange and an odd concept, and frankly I prefer fiction over real crime. There's enough bad things in the world, as I don't want to be reminded of it in the form of a novel, frankly. So it just doesn't work with my sense of optimism overall. The fifth question is a genre you're not sure about, and that is actually one that might be strange for me to say, and that is romance. Now, recently, a fellow booktuber, Shannon, suggested that I might actually like romance because it is often quite optimistic in feeling, and I say repeatedly in videos over time that I am an optimist by nature. So in theory, romance should work for me, at least fairly well, but it's still one that I'm always unsure about because frankly when I was much younger, my sisters read various sort of romance novels, although they don't read romance anymore, and that kind of put me off quite badly, frankly, because it was always like really cliched covers, generally with this muscly, good-looking man and some sort of woman looking like like the damsel in distress type idea. That put me off really badly. I know that's not the case though, so I do plan to actually try and give it a chance, and indeed I do actually plan to try and read something that maybe, I mean, not just romance, it may be romance and another genre thrown in like a mix, because that might work better for me. And indeed that leads on to the sixth question, and that is a genre blend you love, and that is actually detective science fiction, because often science fiction novels work quite well, I've found, with the sort of quite traditional sort of police procedural novel where you have a detective and he's finding out a crime. Now, some of the authors that I've read many times before, like even Peter F. Hamilton, who's just there above my head. He has written a detective science fiction novel, and I've read many others, and they've always been really interesting because of course they're both detective and crime, and of course science fiction settings, so you can do far more interesting things with the world building and such, because frankly you've got more than one world, you've got universes in some cases, so you can do quite interesting things there. And the seventh and final question is a genre defying book. And for this is actually going to be the only time in this video that I'm actually going to wave a book around, and this is Legend of the Galactic Heroes, written by Yoshiki Tanaka. Now this is only the first novel in a series of 10. I have not read the other 9 yet, although I will be within the next few months. I'm actually planning to read all 10 novels in a fairly short space of time. These are fantastic. They are genre defying because they are very much science fiction, but they have a historical fantasy feel to them, but also have elements of Earth on them. So it's an interesting and strange blend, but it works extremely well, and I would really recommend these novels overall because they're just really interesting and well written and good ideas overall. Anyway, with that said, that is it for this video. If you have any interesting comments on what you would answer for these questions yourself, then please feel free to say. All my social media links, as well as the links to the 2 people that I mentioned at the start of this video, can be found in the description box below. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.